Morning, everyone. My name's Jenny Wittmeyer, and we are here with Group 1 to discuss the BreadTalk case.
And my name is Kendall Funk.
And my name's Chris Scott.
And my name's Julie Lenore.
Taking a look at the case presentation and outline. So Chris is going to be taking a look and analyzing some key problems and strategic issues, as well as the company analysis of key problems. Kendall is going to be going over recommendation 1, targeting younger customers. Recommendation 2 is going to be held by Julie with international expansion. And I myself will be going over recommendation 3, capabilities and reaching new markets. I'll hand it off to Chris.
Hi, everyone. Some of the key problems that BreadTalk had dealt with is their bakery division in China had been experiencing stagnation, particularly in Beijing, leading to a decline in franchise performance. Despite having a strong foothold in this market, the brand had struggled to adapt to regional preferences and overcome intense competition from local brands. Moving on to increasing operating costs, rising manpower costs in Singapore and China combined with high rental fees in prime locations have significantly increased operational expenses. BreadTalk has made efforts to address this through automation, but these costs remain a pressing challenge. And then another key problem is the competition in Singapore and China. In Singapore, BreadTalk faces fierce competition from other mid-tier boutique bakeries like Baker & Cook and Four Leaves, which appeal to younger consumers with similar offerings. In China, local brands with better knowledge of local consumer behavior pose significant competition. Another problem is appealing to younger consumers. The company had traditionally targeted a more mature demographic, 30 plus years of age, but there's a need to shift focus toward attracting millennials and Gen Z who prioritize trendiness, innovation, and health-conscious products. The last key problem was geographical and regional differences. The large geographic spread of BreadTalk stores in China means regional preferences vary, complicating the implementation of a uniform strategy. This issue is challenging as the company needs to adapt its product offerings to cater to different consumer tastes in urban versus rural areas. Some of the strategic issues that they face is product and brand positioning, adaptation to local preferences, sustainability and cost control, and digital transformation. Their product and brand positioning, BreadTalk's flagship brand needs a refreshed positioning to stay relevant in an increasingly competitive market. It needs to innovate both in terms of product offerings and its marketing approach to appeal to the millennial and Gen Z consumer base. In international markets like China, BreadTalk needs to refine its product offerings and business model to better align with local consumer preferences. The company's global strategy should be flexible enough to account for regional differences, especially in large and diverse markets. And with sustainability, BreadTalk has implemented several back-end efficiencies, such as systems to reduce waste and improve product freshness, but maintaining cost control and ensuring sustainable growth while managing the increased cost pressures in key markets will continue to be crucial. And with digital transformation, the bakery industry is experiencing a shift toward global digitalization, and BreadTalk has embraced this with initiatives like the BreadTalk Rewards app and hot and fresh notifications. To stay competitive, it needs to continue leveraging digital trends for customer engagement and operational efficiency. And BreadTalk's strategy to expand into emerging markets must consider several factors, including market growth potential, local competition, and operational feasibility. Choosing the right markets to prioritize, along with the adapting brand for local tastes, will be key to successful international growth. Moving on to the company's analysis of key problems. So with stagnation, the company's bakery division in China has encountered stagnation, leading to decreased performance in some regions, especially in Beijing. Despite BreadTalk's success in the Chinese market, it struggles with competition from more established local brands and the difficulty of adapting its offerings to the diverse regional preferences across China. The impact of this stagnation is problematic, as China was one of BreadTalk's largest international markets and accounted for a significant portion of its bakery revenue. Its poor performance affects the overall growth of the company, even though other markets like Singapore are performing better. So some of their cost challenges: BreadTalk faces rising manpower costs and retail operation costs, particularly in high rent markets like Singapore and China. The company's efforts to reduce headcount through automation technology have helped, but high rental fees in key locations remain a burden. Additionally, the shortage of skilled bakers, especially in Singapore, exacerbates the cost pressure. This impact has is that as retail costs increase in prime locations and with a growing need to hire skilled workers, maintaining profitability and competitive becomes more difficult. Another problem is their competitive pressures. In both Singapore and China, BreadTalk faces stiff competition from local brands that understand the preferences of local consumers better and have established a loyal customer base. The impact of this is the presence of these established local competitors creates barriers to expansion and growth, especially in markets where BreadTalk needs to differentiate itself further. Their appeal to younger demographics, BreadTalk's core audience has traditionally been older consumers, as mentioned previously, but the company has realized this, to sustain growth, it needs to attract younger consumers, particularly millennials and Gen Z. These younger consumers tend to gravitate toward brands that offer trendy, innovative products and a unique experience. The impact, if BreadTalk continues to capture this key demographic, it risks losing relevance, particularly in a highly competitive and dynamic market like Singapore, where boutique bakeries are appealing to younger, trend-sensitive consumers. And finally, regional differences. China's vast geographical spread creates significant challenges for BreadTalk. The varying consumer preferences between urban and rural areas can complicate the development of a uniform strategy. The impact of this, the company needs to craft tailored strategies that can effectively address the different demands of both urban and rural populations, making consistency across the market difficult. I'm going to pass you off to Kendall for recommendation 1.
Thanks, Chris. So our first recommendation is how BreadTalk can better target the younger consumer segment, particularly millennials and Gen Z. So according to a journal and a study that was done analyzing behavior amongst generations and donut shops, it covered the interactions of how different generations interact with these pastry shops. So primarily, what was studied was hedonic behavior, which is the pursuit of pleasure and gratification over other values. This is really what hedges millennials and Gen Z differently and how they interact differently with brands. So BreadTalk should definitely partake in utilizing this hedonic behavior more than they should not. So Gen Z post 1995 are more creative, innovative, disloyal to brands, and they're more high tech. So all generations are heavily influenced by relevant influencers rather than brand image and brand reputation, particularly seen with these younger generations. So first, they should utilize these relevant social influencers, particularly pertaining to different regions that they have stores in, which will change consumption behaviors. They should also maintain aesthetic interiors to support social media presence and posts and influences by these younger generations, because they provide an opportunity for Gen Z to interact with friends, meet new people, and get out there, be aesthetically pleasing, as they say. So Chinese locations, as mentioned in the case, make up about 64% of bakery sales because BreadTalk recognizes that their customers are more inclined to dine with friends and peers, which is a trend that needs to be instated internationally. This journal that I have cited also confirms that Gen Z is more explorative with their foods, preferring a wide variety of sensations, tastes, and colors. If the variety does not change, younger generations are more likely to change brands. They are not as brand loyal as previous generations. And the Singapore locations thrive because of this. They cycle through new product varieties every 6 months, and it is an industry challenge, but certainly a trend that's here to stay. So being able to adapt to this is crucial in appealing to these younger people. And then finally, green advertising and sustainability practices has been a trend, but particularly strongly through millennials and Gen Z. They prefer brands who are green and practice sustainability because they want to be a part of something bigger than themselves, and they emphasize eating well more than generations prior, which typically is a cutback on carbs. So BreadTalk already practices this in Singapore, with offering breads with limited preservatives, which enhances their sales, and they don't take a big cut. So now I'll be passing it off to Julie for a second recommendation.
Thanks, Kendall. So as BreadTalk continues to explore opportunities for international expansion, 2 countries stand out, India and South Korea. Both markets offer significant potential for growth and align with BreadTalk's strengths in the retail bakery business. Over 1.4 billion people in India represent a massive consumer base, including a rapidly growing middle class that is driving consumer demand in India. The potential for growth is evident, especially in fast-growing cities like Bengaluru, Delhi, Mumbai, and Pune. In fact, India's bakery market alone was valued to be at $12.6 billion in 2023, and it continues to expand. Additionally, dining trends in India are evolving, with increasing consumers dining out and snacking, and this creates the ideal opportunity for BreadTalk to expand not only their bakery, but also their food atriums and restaurants. However, with any expansion, there are challenges. The market is competitive with other local and international bakeries at play, and there are also cultural barriers to navigate, which means a deeper understanding of local preferences and customs is crucial for success. Despite these challenges, India's growth potential makes an exciting opportunity for expansion for BreadTalk. The next area of expansion is South Korea. South Korea is an ideal market for expansion for BreadTalk. South Korea has a highly urbanized population with a strong cafe culture, making it an attractive location for BreadTalk bakeries and food atriums. In fact, South Korea's middle class continues to grow, creating a stable consumer base for BreadTalk. Financially, South Korea also presents a promising opportunity for BreadTalk. In 2023, the country's imported substantial $472 billion of baked goods. This shows a strong demand for BreadTalk's product. Additionally, the market for baked goods has been expanding. The compound annual growth rate was 3.4% from 2018 to 2023. This growth rate trend indicates a rising interest in bakery items, making an attractive industry for investment. However, there are challenges to be mindful of. The bakery market in South Korea is also competitive with other local and international brands already established. Additionally, the operational costs in the country can be quite high, which could impact profitability in the short term. But despite these challenges, South Korea presents a unique opportunity for expansion. On the next slide, we can see that here we see the financial performance from 2016 to 2018. BreadTalk's bakery revenue has stayed relatively the same over this time period, but what BreadTalk needs to pay attention to is how the food atriums and restaurants have been significantly bringing in more revenue, which is a key factor in expansion to pay attention to. On the next slide here, we can see that BreadTalk needs to pay attention to key factors to ensure success and substantial growth. First, market size and growth potential are crucial. BreadTalk should target large urban populations with a growing middle class, as these are BreadTalk's current highest consumers. Additionally, markets with stable economies and increasing demand for retail bakeries are ideal for expansion. BreadTalk must consider the competitive landscape as well. It's important to enter markets that are moderate to lower in competition, allowing BreadTalk to differentiate itself and capture a significant share of the market. Operational costs and profitability also play a major role. Markets with affordable rent and labor will allow BreadTalk to maintain profitability while investing in growth. The regulatory environment is also important to ensure that food, safety, and business regulations are manageable, allowing smoother operations for BreadTalks into areas of expansion. Brand recognition and consumer loyalty allow BreadTalk to expand into markets where it can easily build awareness among consumers to help its expansion. And finally, geographic location is important for maximizing foot traffic. BreadTalk should prioritize high traffic areas near public transportation to attract a steady stream of customers. By considering these factors, BreadTalk can make informed decisions that maximize its chances of success in the new international markets. I'm going to hand it off to Jenny to talk about recommendation 3 with leverage younger consumers.
Awesome. Thanks, Julie. So we believe that BreadTalk can leverage several core competencies and capabilities to attract younger consumers and expand in other countries. The first being their ability to continuously innovate and refresh their product offerings. BreadTalk constantly introduces new products and redesigns its store concepts to keep the consumer experience exciting and relevant, which is particularly appealing to younger consumers who seek novelty and trendiness. The second being BreadTalk's adoption of digital initiatives such as the BreadTalk Rewards loyalty program and mobile application, which cater to digitally savvy younger customers. The program lets consumers store value, access special discounts, and receive notifications about freshly baked products, boosting engagement and loyalty. Additionally, BreadTalk strategically located outlets in high traffic areas ensure visibility and accessibility, attracting a wide customer base, including younger demographics. Their experience and understanding of local tastes in Singapore also help tailor offerings to meet preferences in other markets. And thirdly, BreadTalk's emphasis on fresh, wholesome, and preservative-free products appeals to health-conscious younger consumers. By leveraging continuous innovation, digital engagement, strategic location, and a focus on product quality, BreadTalk can effectively attract younger consumers and succeed in international markets. And lastly, these are our references that we cited. And thank you, everyone. Thanks for listening.